Hey everybody, recently I had to help my mom clean out a bunch of stuff from my childhood home, but in doing so I actually discovered a lot of my old toys and games and books and magazines, some of which were set in a box from a garage sale and they never sold. And that's what's going on with these magazines today. So some of them are pretty well worn, but these are all magazines from my childhood. I got a ton of them. I'm think it's around 50 to 100, somewhere in that ballpark. And today we're going to go through them. If you see any magazines you want me to review in the future, please let me know in the comments below. Let's start out with some non-gaming, just a few non-gaming magazines. We have a king-size Cracked magazine from summer 1980, and then a Giant Cracked from July of 81. I probably got these at my local comic book store for a quarter a piece. How about Mad magazine number 283 featuring Crocodile Dundee 2 and Rambo 3. And this magazine is the worst of the bunch as far as wear goes. It looks like some moisture got in it, but it is covering, it's issue number 287 from June 89, covering Roseanne. And then we have a nice clean issue from April 1990. It looks like it has B. Arthur on the front. And then we got some PC computing magazines. Now these magazines, I think I got them when I was doing magazine drives and they would give me free subscriptions to magazines from a list if I sold enough. I didn't actually have a computer, but I was interested in them, so I got some computer magazines. So we have an issue here from March of 96 talking about Windows 95. And then in April of 95, I guess this is out of order, I have another Windows 95. And we have a nice 128-bit video thing on the back. And then we have the fastest PC in the world from May of 95. And look at that, another $4,300 computer package on the back. June 95, Windows 95 is finally here. Another $3,700 computer pack. And then from July of 95, we have your key to the internet. So this is when the internet was starting to gain popularity. And then from August of 95, everything you need to know about Windows 95. And then November 95, a massive issue just covering a whole bunch of stuff. And then in December 95, the best 1,001 internet sites. That would be interesting. And hey, look, prices are coming down. You can now get a whole computer from Dell for $2,700 on the back there. In January 96, the best PC buys, we're talking about Pentiums and stuff, and a $2,500 computer on the back there. And then we have the online super guide for February of 96. And then I got some CD-ROMs today. Most of them are not even open. They actually came with a CD-ROM. This was when CD-ROMs were new and hip. And so we have February of 95. I also have March of 95. It looks like we have some sort of like encyclopedia stuff going on. Then we have photo editing, digital photos. This was May of 95. And then how to upgrade stuff for June of 95. And then it looks like we actually have some games when we're talking about July of 95. And then my last issue of CD-ROM today looks like it's talking about sound, so sound blasters, and that was volume 3, issue 8. Now, I don't know where I got this one or how I got it, but I got a computer player magazine. This was from November of 95. It has, it talks about TIE Fighter and Road Rash, and I think that's Lawnmower Man on the cover, and PGA Tour 46 on the back. And then we have a game called Inca I'm not familiar with in the next issue that I have, volume 6, number 4 from 1993, and Return to Zork. Oh, these are PC entertainment magazines. So I have 3 of these. So this was volume 6, issue 5 from 93. And then the next issue talked about Sam and Max. And then, and on the back you could see some Sierra Online advertisements. And I also had Sierra Interaction magazine, which my friend played a lot of the Sierra games at his home, so maybe that's why I got it. And they did make some Sega CD games. I had a Sega CD. So spring of 93, we're talking about Space Quest 5 on the cover, Sound Blaster on the back for $150. And then summer 93, we got Betrayal of Krondor, which I'm not very familiar with. And on the back, we're advertising King's Quest 6. And then we have the holiday issue 93. And on the back, we just have a whole bunch of stuff you can get on sale, including a $260 CD-ROM. And let's see, we are now at spring of 94. Gabriel Knight on the cover. And we got Aces Over Europe on the back. Next up, we have Holiday in 94. And it advertised a free King's Quest 7 poster, which this one still has the poster inside. And then we have some more sales directly from Sierra on the back. Then we have spring of 1995, The Lost Mind of Dr. Brain. And we're selling some more games on the back. And how about another Space Quest game? And we're talking about net surfing, because this is, at the time people are going online for the first time. Fall of 95, Holiday in 95, we got Torrens Passage, which is not a game I'm familiar with. And then Football Pro, featuring Barry Sanders on the cover on the back. And then Earth Siege 2, a MechWarrior style game from spring of 96. And on the back, we have some more advertisements for games. So this is probably the first video game magazine I paid full price for. I think I got this at my local Farmer Jack. It was a grocery store. They had a magazine section when my parents would shop. I used to hang out there. And I bought video games and computer entertainment from October 1989 because I liked the links. I had an Atari 7800 at the time. That was interesting to me. And Bad Dudes is on the back. And then I got the October 90 issue. It's very well worn. Looks like it has Wing Commander on the front. And on the back, we have, I think it's Al Unser Turbo Racing, some sort of racing game from Data East. Maybe I'm wrong about it being the Al Unser game. Okay, and next we have from November 90, we have an Elvira cover. And we have Cavemen games for the NES on the back. And this is my only issue I have of video games, the Ultimate Video Game Magazine. This is from April of 1994 with a focus on Mortal Kombat 2 and NBA Jam on the back. And I was a big Sega fan, had a Genesis power base converter and the CD eventually. So this is the Game Player's Sega Genesis Strategy Guide, Volume 1, the first issue with Golden Axe on the front, Atomic Robo Kid on the back. And then the next issue that I have here, Volume 2, Number 1, with a $2.99 Toys R Us price tag. It has a Sword of Sodan, which is a terrible game on the front, and Powerball on the back. And then I have Volume 2, Number 3. I got one that's covering Batman and Crackdown on the back. And then we have a Game Players for Sega and Nintendo. So I don't know when this was from, but it's during the war of the Sega and Nintendo course. And it looks like we have Total Carnage at the front. So this was in 94, and NBA Jam on the back. And then May of 94, Super Metroid on the cover. And Champions World Class Soccer on the back. Then Mega Play, I got a couple issues of these. It was a Genesis-focused magazine. This is February 91. It features Batman on the front and Philios and Burning Force on the back. And then I also have Volume 5, Number 2 from 93, I believe it is, Sega CD Mortal Kombat and Pirates of Dark Water on the back. Then I got Sega Visions. I had Sega Visions for quite a long time. I think it was free for a while. So we have Winter 1991 with Joe Montana Football. And then we have Sonic debuting in Summer 91 on the cover. And then Toe Jam and Earl, really golden time for Sega in Fall of 91. And then we have the TV tuner for the Game Gear on the back. And then we have 91-92 Winter Sonic on the Game Gear and Sports Talk Football on the back. Kid Chameleon in May, June of 92 on the cover. We have the Power Clutch SG controller. Then August, September 92, Sonic 2 is making his debut. And more Sonic 2 in November, December 92 with some other games. And we still have the same back. And then the Sega CD is featured in February, March of 93. Got a DC Superhero Sweepstakes on the back. And guess what, everybody? This was exciting when Street Fighter II Championship Edition was coming out in spring of 93, or was announced then. And then Dracula for the Sega CD on the back. June, July 93, it was all about Jurassic Park and RBI Baseball 93 on the back. And then it's all about Sega Sports in August and September 93, and Exo Squad Toys on the back. even though they do mention the game. October of 93, we have Sonic Spinball with Mortal Kombat on the back. And then January 94, we have Eternal Champions with the Super Tecmo games coming to the Genesis on the back. At some point, they stopped making Sega Visions, and they transferred my subscription to a Gamepro subscription. Okay, but before we get to Gamepro, let's talk about my favorite magazine from the 90s by far, Electronic Gaming Monthly. So issue 92 from 91 talks about Sonic the Hedgehog, has Pac-Man for the Game Boy on the back, and then we have Terminator 2 Judgment Day from July of 91. I'm missing some issues here, and Burger Time Deluxe on the back, and then the Sega CD featured September 91. And on the back, we have Rockin' Cats. And then I love this, Super Mario 4, which would be known as Super Mario World. And this was issue number 27. And on the back, more Rockin' Cats. So volume 5, issue 6, TMNT 4 for the Super Nintendo. Great game, Addams Family on the back. And here's an interesting one. Bubsy is on the cover of issue 43, Lethal Weapon on the back. And then number 44 is Star Fox, which was a huge deal. We got Cool World on the back. It's going to be there for a while. Bram Stoker's Dracula with a cool kind of foil type of red color is issue 45. Issue 46, Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition. You're going to see a lot of Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat coming up. 47, Mortal Kombat. 48 is Jurassic Park and Jungle Strike on the cover. Addams Family's on the back. Then we have Arrow the Acrobat, when everyone was making a mascot. That's issue 49. And then for our 50th issue, it's Street Fighter 2 Turbo versus Mortal Kombat. Who is better? And then issue 51 is Super Street Fighter 2. Issue 52 is Sonic CD, I believe. And this was a thick issue. Lemmings is on the back. Issue 53 is a fold-out cover with Eternal Champions and more Lemmings, this time for the Game Boy on the back. Mortal Kombat 2 for issue 54. And the Untouchables on the back. 55 was all about NBA Jam, and we have Pro Move Soccer on the back for the Genesis. 56, Star Trek The Next Generation, and then we have the Super Advantage joystick. So 57, we have Beavis and Butthead. 58, we have Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. 59, we have Virtua Fighter. So we're getting into the 32-bit era now, and now we got is it ASCII-ware joysticks on the back? Issue 60, we're now talking about Mortal Kombat 2. Issue 62, we're into Primal Rage. Issue 63, Donkey Kong Country, which had really amazing graphics when it came out. They still hold up well today. And I believe this is the biggest issue, almost 400 pages. It talks about 32X Doom. And then we have another massive joystick for the Super Nintendo on the back, the Super Advantage. Then we have Mortal Kombat 3 and Mega Man X 2, I believe it is, for the Super Nintendo. And then we got Tekken. We're getting into the PlayStation area for the next issue. April 95, we have Mortal Kombat 3 and Street Fighter Legends, which I'm going to guess is what became Alpha, and Punisher for the Genesis on the back. May of 95, issue 70, we have some more Mortal Kombat 3. Then we have Earthworm Jim 2 in issue 71, and they're talking about the 3DO M2 upgrade. And then the last issue I have, we skip ahead to 86 with Soviet Strike on the front, and on the back, the Buster Brothers collection for the PlayStation. Now, like I said, I was a big EGM fan, so much so that when EGM 2 came out in 94, I subscribed. So the first issue talks about Super Street Fighter 2 versus Mortal Kombat 2. The second issue covers Daytona, USA. And on the back, we got some Mortal Kombat ad. The next issue, 3, is all about Darkstalkers. And then I'm missing issue 4. Issue 5 talks about Sonic and Knuckles and a new 3DO coming. And we have the Super Advantage on the back. Issue 6 is about Batman and Robin. And we have some Mortal Kombat 2 on the back. Issue 7 talks about Eternal Champions CD with Monster Truck Wars for the Game Gear and Game Boy on the back. Issue 8 is a 1995 preview with some first pictures of the Sega Saturn NBA Jam Tournament Edition on the back. Issue 9 features X-Men, and on the back we have more NBA Jam TE. Issue 10 talks about Night Warriors, and we have a Warlock game being advertised on the back. Issue 11, we were talking about Virtua Fighter on the Saturn, and some more Warlock on the back. Issue 12, Virtua Fighter 3, first look at it. And we have Justice League fighting game on the back, Task Force. Then Volume 2, Issue 1, number 13 overall. We're looking at Killer Instinct and Batman Forever on the back, which it turned out to be pretty bad. Then we have Issue 2 of Volume 2, and we're talking about Tekken 2. And we have Frank Thomas baseball on the back. Street Fighter Alpha is for Issue 15. And on the back we have some more Batman Forever. So Issue 16, it looks like we have WrestleMania the arcade game and Mortal Kombat 3 on the cover. And my back was torn up, but it does feature an STD controller and Addams Family on either side of the broken page. And then we also have Issue 17, where we're talking about Marvel superheroes. It's cool to see Thanos before he became popular in the movies, and Spawn is on the back. And then the last issue I have is Issue 18, featuring Donkey Kong Country 2, with Spider-Man Separation Anxiety on the back. All right, now let's talk about GamePro, which may have been more popular than EGM. I just like the EGM better. So I have sporadic issues at the beginning. Volume 2, number 10. This seemed to focus on like Halloween-style games. And we have a Skate or Die game for the Game Boy on the back. Volume 2, issue number 11. We have Gremlins 2 on the front. And on the back, we have Skull and Crossbones for the NES. Then Volume 3, number 9. This is 91, I believe. We have American Gladiators. Look at those faces. What a great cover. And the Lone Ranger for the NES on the back. Then Watch GamePro TV. This is Volume 3, number 10. I got it from a Toys R Us on clearance for 90 cents. Dig those clearance stickers with Super Star Wars on the front. Darkman for the Game Boy on the back. Hook is on the next issue. And on the back, we have Flintstones. And then we have Street Fighter 2. This is Volume 4, number 3. This is 92, another 90-cent issue I got. Addams Family's on the back. Then we have Mortal Kombat on the front of September 93. And then I think it's all ripped up on the back there. And then check this out. Incredible Hulk and the Genesis CDX portable system and Lane Pro and an NBA Jam poster inside. This is April of 94. Lethal Enforcers is on the back. The Death and Return of Superman for September of 94. And on the back we have Mortal Kombat. Virtua Fighter 2 is November of 95. On the back we have Vector Man. This might be when I think I started to get a subscription from Sega Visions. So December 95 we have Donkey Kong Country 2. Garfield games for the Sega systems on the back. January, Mortal Kombat and Tekken 2. And Dirt Tracks FX for the Super Nintendo on the back. We have Street Fighter Alpha in February of 1996 and the Ultra 64 being advertised and the Sega Saturn on the back. September of 96, we have Doom 64. And guess what? It's time for me to renew, and I think I did. March of 96, we have Ultra 64 games, including Killer Instinct 2. And we have Rise 2 Resurrection on the back. And then April 96, we have Resident Evil First Look. This is issue 91 and Sega Saturn back on the back. Issue 92 is about Killer Instinct 2. And Fila, I forgot about those shoes. 93, we have War Gods on the front. And on the back, we have Experts, the classic Sega game for the Genesis. Issue 97, we're talking about various Star Wars games. And it's time for me to renew again, but I don't think I did. And I have 3 issues of SWAT. This was GamePro's like tips and tricks only magazine. So 91, September. This is Battletoads on the cover. A cool $99.99 Atari Lynx ad on the back. So Castlevania 4 is on the cover for March of 92. On the back we have Addams Family and Bubsy. Tricks to Make It Fun, 93 of November. Raging Fighter by Konami is on the back for the Game Boy. Then Game Informer. Of course, you go to GameStop, you would get a Game Informer subscription. I actually enjoyed Game Informer back then. August of 93 featured Jungle Strike with Flintstones and Jetstones on the back. Mortal Kombat. September, October 93, clean cover and Mortal Kombat on the back. And then we have Disney's Aladdin on the next issue coming up. And then we have a WCW main event game for the Game Boy on the back. NBA Jam is next. And then Lunar, a nice ad for Lunar on the back. NBA Jam again for 94 of March and April. And on the back we have Choplifter 3. Then MLB PA Baseball on the front of May, June 94. And on the back we have Aladdin for the Game Gear. Battletech for July, August 94. On the back, World Championship Soccer 2. September, October 94 is Mortal Kombat 2. On the back we have Maximum Carnage again. Then we have Ristar on the front of the next issue, January 95. X-Men on the Game Gear on the back. February 95, we got Killer Instinct. And on the back, we have Phantasy Star 4. That's a great ad. Then March of 95, we have NBA Jam Tournament Edition and the accompanying ad on the back. And then April of 95, we have Eternal Champions. And on the back, we have another NBA Jam TE. Gex is the cover for 95 of May with True Lies on the back. Then Daytona, Rolling Star, June of 95. On the back, we have Wayne Gretzky for the Sega Genesis. Then we have some Batman and Robin in July of 95. And Comic Zone on the back. And this is one of my favorite covers, the Lunar cover of August 95. Mortal Kombat, the movie, is on the back. And then September 95, we have Killer Instinct. And on the back, Mortal Kombat 3 for the PlayStation. And looked like my subscription ran out with Mortal Kombat 3 on the cover in October of 95. And then I have one Next Generation issue of October 95. I don't know why, but it talks about Madden. It advertises Ultra 64 and the Jaguar on the cover. And interestingly enough, I also found 2 of these VHS promo tapes from Howard Johnson Inn that gave you tips on Game Gear games, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So what do you think about that? So let me know what you think. Are there any issues you'd like to see me do a deep dive in? Any ads or covers that take you back? And what are your favorite video game magazines? Let me know in the comments below. Please click like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.